After 4 years of traveling across Teyvat, after fighting gods and unraveling ancient conspiracies, have you ever stopped to ask the single most important question in all of Genshin Impact? What is Paimon? She is our guide, our companion, our emergency food, and, without a doubt, the greatest, most well-kept secret in the entire game. She has been by our side since the beginning, yet she remains a complete enigma, a being that no one in Teyvat seems to recognize, yet no one questions. The question isn't just who she is, but what? A god? A remnant of a forgotten race? A celestial spy sent to watch our every move? The theories are as vast as the sea of stars she wears on her cape. But today, we are going to dive deeper than ever before. We will connect the dots between ancient lore, hidden dialogues, and the very fabric of Teyvat's laws to construct the most complete picture of Paimon's true identity yet. This isn't just a theory, it's an investigation into the heart of Genshin's central mystery. Before we dive into the grand theories, we need to establish the problem. We need to lay out all the pieces of what I call the Paimon Paradox, a list of contradictions and bizarre facts that prove she is far more than she appears. First, her knowledge. Paimon acts as our guide, yet her understanding of Teyvat is strangely inconsistent. She knows things she shouldn't, like a walking wiki of rumors and regional trivia, even for nations she's never visited. Yet for crucial historical or divine matters, she's often as clueless as a newborn. Her knowledge isn't based on experience. It's like she has access to some kind of celestial database, but only the public-facing, non-classified parts. Second, her nature. No one knows what she is. Not the Archons, not the Adepti, not even ancient beings who have lived for millennia. They just shrug and accept her as some kind of fairy or magical creature. This is Teyvat, a world of gods, dragons, and talking animals. But a tiny, floating, sentient being with command of the Teyvat language is somehow the weirdest thing anyone has ever seen. The only person who ever truly questioned her was Rosaria, who pointed out her bizarre ability to completely vanish into thin air, a feat no other being seems capable of. Third, and this is the big one, her relationship with the Irminsul, the world tree that records all of Teyvat's memories. As we learned with the Greater Lord Rukkhadevata and Scaramouche, when the Irminsul's records are changed, the memories of everyone native to Teyvat are rewritten. However, Nahida's dialogue confirms that Paimon is a native of Teyvat, as she is connected to the Irminsul, and it is perhaps our single most important clue. So with these paradoxes in mind, let's address the simplest theory first, just to get it out of the way. The idea that Paimon is just Paimon, a unique little fairy we happen to fish out of the sea. It's a comforting thought, but in a game as meticulously crafted as Genshin, it's also the least likely answer. Her name, Paimon, comes from the Arscoedia, the same demonic grimoire that names Morax, Barbatos, and the other Archons. Her design motifs, the triquestra, the star-like patterns on her cape, the celestial crown, are all directly linked to the architecture and symbols of Celestia. There is nothing accidental about her. The question isn't if she has a secret, but how cosmically significant that secret is. This brings us to our first major theory. Paimon is a being from Celestia. This is the most popular and visually supported theory. Her entire aesthetic screams divine. But what kind of being? Is she a guide, like the Seelie who once guided humanity? Perhaps, but the evidence points to something far more specific and powerful. Many believe that Paimon is in fact a weakened amnesiac form of one of the 4 shining shades of the Primordial One. Specifically, she is the sustainer of heavenly principles, Asmoday, the very god who defeated us in the game's opening. Now, this sounds insane at first. How could our bubbly, food-obsessed companion be the cold, imposing god who sealed our sibling away? The answer lies in a recontextualization of that opening scene, one that involves another major villain. A popular and compelling theory suggests that the person standing with us in the opening cutscene wasn't our twin.
It was Rainier, the sinner of Kyanria, disguised as our sibling in a desperate attempt to use our power to escape Teyvat. Asmoday, the sustainer, saw through this disguise. Notice her line, "The arrogation of mankind ends now." This isn't just about us, it's about the hubris of a Kyanrian sinner trying to defy the divine order. She attacks our sibling first because she recognizes them as the greater threat. The theory posits that imprisoning a being as powerful and complex as Rainier, especially after he was empowered by the Abyss, was an incredibly taxing act. Teyvat. In the process of sealing him and casting our traveler down, Asmoday exhausted her divine authority. This concept of using immense power leading to memory loss and a reduction in form is a well-established rule in Teyvat. We saw it with the Aranara and most poignantly with Crater Lord Rukkhadevata creating Nahida.
So, after the battle, the exhausted Asmoday falls from Celestia, her body shrinking, her memories wiped, her power reduced to almost nothing. She lands in the ocean near Mondstadt, where a certain traveler happens to cast their fishing line. This narrative elegantly explains almost every Paimon Paradox. Her amnesia explains why she doesn't know who she is. Her celestial origin explains her design and her wiki-like knowledge of Teyvat. As a god, she wouldn't have personal experiences on the ground, but would possess innate, high-level information. It even explains why she floats and can disappear. These are remnants of her divine abilities. She is a god, reduced to her most basic, childlike form. But there is another theory, one that reaches even deeper into Teyvat's primordial past, long before Celestia's reign. This is the theory that Paimon is one of the three moon sisters. Ancient Teyvat lore speaks of a time when three moons, Aria, Sonnet, and Canon, graced the night sky. They were sisters, daughters of the Dragon King Nibelung, and they were the keepers of the world's fate. But a great calamity occurred, and two of the moons were destroyed in a great war in the heavens, with one of the sisters dying and her corpse falling into the ocean. The parallels are almost too perfect to ignore. We fished Paimon out of the ocean. Her cape is a literal sea of stars, a miniature night sky. She has a deep, almost instinctive connection to celestial bodies. This theory suggests that Paimon is a reincarnation, a Nahidified version of the moon sister who died. Much like Rukkhadevata created a smaller, more pure version of herself, the dying will of the moon goddess could have manifested as a new, innocent life form, stripped of her memories and powers. This would explain why she is a Teyvat native, yet so fundamentally different from everyone else. She predates the current order. She isn't a god from Celestia. She is a relic of the primordial world. This theory also has a beautiful, tragic symmetry. The moon's corpse fell into the sea, and we pulled a tiny star from that same sea. Now, some might argue that if Paimon were a moon sister, a being as sensitive to their power as the Fatui harbinger Columbina would have recognized her. But if Paimon is mere an echo, a reborn fragment with almost none of her original power, her signature would be too faint to detect. Columbina might sense something familiar, an echo of a long-lost song, but not enough to identify its source. So we have two incredibly compelling, yet seemingly contradictory theories. Is she a fallen god from Celestia, or a reborn goddess from the primordial age? What if the answer is a bit of both? Or rather, what if the mechanic of her existence is more important than the specific identity? The theme of fragmentation and divination is central to Genshin's storytelling. A created the Shogun puppet. Rukkhadevata created Nahida. It's a recurring motif for beings of immense power. My personal grand unified theory is this. Paimon is a fragment of a divine will. She is the result of a catastrophic event that forced a powerful entity, be it Asmoday or a moon sister, to shed a piece of themselves to survive or preserve their essence. This fragment by its nature is small, amnesiac, and seemingly powerless. It is the conscience or innocence of a much larger, more complex being. This fragment theory perfectly resolves the Irminsul paradox. As a fragment of a native Teyvat deity, she is fundamentally connected to the world tree. This brings us to the most important question of all. What does this mean for the end of our journey?
For years, the community has been terrified of the Paimon is the final boss theory, but I believe her true role is far more tragic and complex. Think about the structure of the game. Paimon is with us not just in the main Archon quests, but in hundreds of hours of world quests and side content. A sudden villainous betrayal would create a massive narrative plot hole for any player who hasn't finished the main story. It would break the game's immersion. Therefore, a betrayal is unlikely. A tragic reveal, however, is almost guaranteed. The ending of our story will likely not be a battle against Paimon, but a struggle for her. We will uncover her true identity, and this knowledge will put her in grave danger. Celestia may want to reclaim its lost god, or the forces of the Abyss might see her as a key to unraveling the Divine Order. Her original personality, the cold Asmoday or the majestic Moon Sister, might begin to re-emerge. emerge, threatening to erase the Paimon we know and love. Our final quest might be to protect her identity, to fight for her right to exist as just Paimon, the companion who has been with us since the beginning. We might have to make a choice: restore her to her former glory, losing our friend in the process, or defy the fate of the heavens to save the tiny being who saved us when we were drowning. Paimon is the heart of our journey. She is the ultimate test of the traveler's philosophy, the belief in the bonds we forge, regardless of origin or destiny. She is not just emergency food, she is family. And the final chapter of Genshin Impact will almost certainly revolve around how far we are willing to go to protect her. So what do you think? Is Paimon a fallen god, a reborn moon, or something else entirely? What do you believe her role will be in the final climactic chapters of our journey? Let me know all of your incredible theories down in the comments below. And if you enjoy diving this deep into the labyrinth of Genshin's lore, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our next investigation. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.